Good afternoon, class. My name is Vincent Allard, and my presentation will be on the Steel Curtain Fund. I want to kind of embody the epitome of success in my challenge. Ultimately, I came short, but I learned a lot on the way. So, getting right off to start, my first stock was the Microsoft Corporation, MSFT. They initially went public March 13, 1986. They are an American-based technology company. They were founded in 1975 by Bill Gates and Paul Allen, and currently they're based in Redmond, Washington. So as I'm sure most of you know, they sell computer software, electronics, PCs, and online services. They are a blue chip company. They are well known, high valued stock. They have a lot of assets and services that make them a big United States company, and all over the world, people know their products. So the reasons that I purchased, like I mentioned, they're a blue chip company, so they have good value and they're safe stock to invest money in. And I also expected great sales for the holiday season and some of their new products. So this is the performance. The black line indicates when the stock presentations, the stock challenge started. I bought originally the stock for $209.83, and I sold it for $214.36. So my capital gains were $432.25. So one thing that I was really looking forward to, like I mentioned, was their new products. Their Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S launched and released their first installment in stores November 10th, 2020. They sold over 16,000 models of the Xbox Series X and 4,000 of the Series S. So this didn't really reflect greatly on the stock's value. It had a slight up. And initially, because of no talks really about another stimulus package, the value of the stock right after the challenge, starting around the 14th of October, started to decline because there wasn't a lot of hope for people purchasing new products, even going into the holiday season. But around after the election, things kind of changed. And with the news of the vaccine, it kind of mellowed out. So this might still go up during the holiday season now that it's closer in December and closer to the holiday shopping season. We might see an increase in the stock overall. So my second stock that I invested in was Visa Inc. They're an American-based financial services corporation founded in 1958 by Dee Hock. That's a photo of him in the bottom left. Right now, they're based in Foster City, California, and they're best known for their credit, debit, and prepaid cards. So they initially went public March 19, 2008, and they're most well known for their online transactions with their credit and debit cards. And obviously they also have gift cards that you can buy for prepaid purchases. So reasons that I purchased it, I thought that there was going to be an increase in online transactions with less people wanting to exchange money with stores and other people. And also the holiday shopping season, I figured people would use their credit cards and online shopping to accrue points for hotels or planes in the future. Hedge funds really love this stock for short selling, which is something that I found interesting when I was considering purchasing it. I figured with potential stimulus hopes and after the election and the holiday shopping season, that this would be kind of a boom or bust stock, which kind of unfortunately didn't really turn out to be that way. So it started out really bearish and went down right before the beginning of November. And then right as November 1st, they did a release and they saw that during August, late August, they saw an increase in debit uses. So we're not really sure if it really has to do with the holiday season coming up or if the rising COVID cases and lockdowns kind of let everything go back online and more people spending money that way instead of cash transactions in stores. And then it peaked like right before November 7th, and we saw a slight little dip here, which was when they had a Department of Justice investigation about them possibly eliminating competition on the online businesses. This stock does pay a dividend, by the way, and also does Microsoft. So the third stock that I invested in was kind of like one of my prospects that I really hoped for was Peloton Interactive. They're an American exercise equipment and service company founded in 2012 by John Foley. The reason that they were able to become successful and start producing quickly was they had a Kickstarter campaign in 2013, which they did crowdfunding for and was really successful. So they offer a variety of different bikes, and then they also have their membership service, which I'll get into in a little bit. So the reason that I wanted to purchase this stock was because they saw great growth all the way from the beginning of the year. They started in February. The stock was valued at $28.48. And with gym closures and people wanting to be at home and work out on their own schedule and be safe, I figured that this was going to be a really, really big stock for this chat during these next couple of weeks. So it really looks that way at first. It peaked at around 200. It peaked at almost $140, and that was during this challenge. And I was really excited. I really thought it was going to go up from there. And then with low talks about stimulus and low earnings reports, the value of the stock started to go down, even though they were beating their projections from the beginning of the year because nobody anticipated a pandemic. What they were anticipated during the pandemic, it seemed like they were falling short a little bit because people weren't actually buying the bikes. One thing that I do like about this company, though, is they spent a lot of their overhead early on for their online classes and services with the membership program that you can pay monthly subscription for. So they got that cost out of the way early so that in the future, a lot of their revenue and profits can go directly to improving the bike and the performance of the bike. So after the vaccine news obviously kind of killed this stock and any real growth of possibly going back up to the 140, 130s and even exceeding that. But it ended up finishing around 116. So I bought it at 116, which it almost ended at, and I sold it for 114.45. So I had a capital gains of negative $426. The next stock that I invested in was Teladoc. It is an American-based multinational telemedicine and healthcare company. They initially went public July 1st, 2015. They were founded in 2002 by Michael Gorton and Byron Brooks, and their services include AI and analytics, virtual appointments and diagnoses program. So reasons that I purchased it, people during the pandemic might not have wanted to go to a doctor's office and the possibility of getting infected if other sick patients were there, even if it was for a regular checkup, like I know I had to go for. So the idea that you can meet with a doctor, a licensed physician, obviously, get whatever diagnosis or checkup that you need, and being in the safety of your own home was a really interesting prospect for me, especially during the pandemic and increased cases. And one other thing that had been talking about for a few months before the challenge was a potential merger with Livongo, which I'll get into. So the merger ended up finally going through. It was an $18.5 billion merger, and Livongo is a diabetes service. So people with diabetes can be on their health program, and they can monitor blood glucose records with certified diabetes educators. So instead of other technologies or going to a regular doctor regularly to check on your diabetes status, you could do it through that service. So the merger with Teladoc is almost like a 2-in-1. So they offer a lot of new services and they're going to continue to grow. So one unfortunate thing for me in this presentation is that I kind of got into this stock too late with this challenge. So I bought it at 222.85. I ended up having to sell it at 203.66 for a slight loss in the capital gains, almost $2,000 I lost. It had peaked in August at around 250, and I thought it was only going to go up from there, but unfortunately it didn't. So it started the year at $80, and year to date it went up 250% almost. So I was really excited going into this challenge that maybe it's going to continue to grow, but unfortunately I kind of got it at the high end, and then I got stuck with it when it just devalued, especially with the news of the coronavirus vaccine. A lot of users might not end up continuing to stick with the service, that they might just go back to the regular doctor. So the final stock that I invested in is Iovance Biotherapeutics, Inc. And this one was really exciting for me. I didn't expect this to do this well. So it's an American biopharmaceutical company founded in 2007 by Maria Fardis, that's her in the picture. They initially went public September 19, 2017. They're based in San Carlos, California, and they develop tumor infiltrating therapies for certain kinds of cancers. They use T cells to fight metastatic cervical cancer, blood lymphocyte leukemia, and non-small cell lung cancer. So they do a lot of different kinds of research and testing and clinical trials, not just trying to solve and cure one kind of cancer, which is really interesting. So reasons that I purchased it. This one I kind of used a little technical analysis on to either be a boom or a bust. So I purchased the stock when it was really bullish and really down, and really bearish, sorry. And I thought that this stock was going to become bullish using technical analysis. So I thought that this was going to boom because they had better growth than the industry average for the year prior. So the industry average was a 2% decrease, while on the year they ended up with a 40% increase. So as you can see here, it started to go down, and I really thought that it was going to start to go up. So I was tracking it all the way before we had to make our initial purchase. And once I saw it going up slightly, I just decided that I had to go with it. and it ended up being my best stock overall. So I bought it at $28.04, and I ended up selling it at $43.11 for a total capital gains of $10,744.91. If you look at the 52-week high and low, the high was $48.64, which it actually reached yesterday. So this stock is still on the rise. It is still doing well. They've had multiple conferences for earnings and updates about FDC patents and getting licensing for certain therapies that they're going to start to try, some clinical trials. So this stock was really, really important for my portfolio because it ended up being almost all the money that I made. I was really surprised with the growth that it did. It started the year around $27 and it went up almost 70% year to date. And that was a really big shock to me. So I'm glad that I ended up, sticking with my guns and investing in it. So this is my overall performance for my portfolio. It started out doing well, as you can see, around week 2. I hit a slight peak, and then after that, news of not a lot of progress was being made on a stimulus package, which hurt Microsoft, Visa, and Peloton. And then week 4, we saw the election and a lot of uncertainty, so everything was volatile. Then week 5, things started to bounce up after the election results. And then week 6, we heard news about potential coronavirus vaccines, which ended up killing some of my stocks like Peloton and Teladoc. And then slightly after that, we just saw an increase. So yeah, that's my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm free to answer them. Thank you.